All right, my YouTuber RVers, this is one of those trays that's comparable to the Stromberg CC. I think it's 225 or something, a generator tray, or a tray that's normally mounted on the A-frame of a trailer and sits up to carry like a generator or a box or whatever you want to carry. I got this thing on a promotion on eBay. Normally it's $160, considerably cheaper than Stromberg, and I had a promotion, got it for about 130 bucks. We're going to take it apart, get it out of the box, and then put it together, and we'll see what kind of quality. I've had the Stromberg Carlson on my Casita. I'm installing this on a Coachman, so I'll know the comparison. I've had both, so we'll see if this is equal quality. Okay, my general assessment, now that I've unpacked this and looked over it, is I really like the front section better than the Stromberg. If you've installed a Stromberg Carlson before, this is a much better configuration. We'll see how it fits. This still appears comparable. One thing about the Stromberg, I noticed it would easily rust. I'm sure this one will too, but you just have to plan on painting these periodically. Now, open the box, everything's out. Don't panic. No instructions. But I always find it easier to start out by sorting out all of your pieces. That helps sometimes in assembly, so you know exactly what you got. What I find too is if you look online where I purchased this, they'll give you diagrams and you can usually follow them pretty easily. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to sort of just follow the diagram, no instructions in there, but it looks like they've got enough photos and different descriptions so that we could put this together. So let's get started. Now separate out your pieces too, because you'll see you got two longer, two shorter. So measure everything and make sure that you use the correct one. I'm sure these will be the bottom, these will be up top to hold those bars there. You know, when I put this hardware on, I may end up drilling through more support. It does have some security bolt put in there, I noticed too. So, but here we go. Now I've started on this side and you can see how I've fed one side. Now I've decided to go ahead and get this tire out of the way and make sure you stay away from your hoses. Now I believe I'll be able to put my tire back, because when I tighten these down I may cut some of them off. But for now, to make it more room, I'm going to remove that tire. So you can see I'm installing this side. So let's get the tire out of the way. All right, now this is a good time to check your spare tire when you have it removed. And also, what I found was that it was seized, and I had to use a larger impact to break this loose. So while you're down here, I would strongly advise put you some anti-seize lubricant on here, because you don't want to be on the road trying to remove this tire and can't get it off. So I'm going to lube it up good, let it sit. I've got the tire out of the way. That'll give us plenty of room to work now. All right, now do not tighten anything down now. You just want to position this so you can estimate where you need to place your brackets and all, but I want to show you how they're inserted. This is sitting in. You can see the bends in the tubing. So your tray sits out here, and you want to, leave sufficient room, so you may need to adjust up or back, depending on your need. Like I say, stay away from your wires. And with my tire out of the way, I can see across, kind of line it up, and before I secure anything down. Now, because I have this leveling hitch here, I'm not going to be able to come up here, and I've got this brace here, so it leaves me pretty much with this centerpiece, unless you wanted to move your propane tanks or something to come up further. But let's see how this works out. All right, now you notice you got two plates. There's one and here's one. And you'll see this one has multiple holes drilled in it. You can have two positions. But these 3 holes, you can see, perfectly line up with this tray. So we're going to get them installed on each side. Then we'll come back and look at these. But this is pretty self-explanatory. So it's going to be in a downward position because the upper parts will be attached here. Those pieces there. Just like we did on the bottom, they'll be here. All right, so let's get these installed. All right, now you can see I've loosely fitted my center post here. And you're going to have to kind of push that up toward the front of the frame so that they'll line up. You'll use those long bolts. They'll thread into that piece there. Remember how it's turned. One on each side. And I've used the outer. So, and this support's going to come up and support the center, or well, not the center, the front end of the tray. And then we'll need to, we've got the legs in place and we've got the plates on here. So we can kind of set this up, and we're going to basically bolt this on here, and this is a security bolt. All right, I thought I'd show you where I'm at loosely assembled now. You're getting a good view now of kind of where we're at. Now you have to measure out on your plate here where you want to adjust your tray back or forward, and really it comes down to how you can align the front, because this support brace in the front really is going to determine how far back forward you can go, because they've got you some slots here to tie it down on the front end, but in my configuration with my jack, it kind of limits. I couldn't reach up here without pushing way back, so I've chosen this selection. So count your openings and determine where you want to be, and I've only loosely assembled it. You can see the security bolts too I've put in. They're not, none of them is tightened down. I'm just loosely assembling it now. And I've got to come back and put a bolt here, a bolt here. I've got to put one here and here and tighten everything down. But this is kind of what it looks like. And I'm impressed with the quality, actually. It's as good as, I would say, as good as Stromberg Carlson. In fact, some of these things may come out of the same factory, who knows. But it certainly appears to be good quality. Now, one thing about the Stromberg Carlson is you end up having to drill some holes in theirs through the tubing as additional measures for support. So if I find that this is loose in any way after I've tightened it down, I've got a 17mm metal drill bit. It would be easy for me to mark a location and drill straight through and put another locking bolt in there. That, as far as I can tell, is really the only difference. And this is, of course, substantially less expensive. So I'm going to finish it up, tighten it up. My plan is to carry my generator here. Now, one thing I did on my casita when I was installing this is I cut these legs down to lower the tray so the generator wasn't so high. And you can do that on these too if you want to. You could actually cut the legs and it'll lower it, because there's no other way I can see based on your frame. Now, it's designed so that if you had a smaller frame, I suppose you could lower it here. That's not an option for me. So the only way really I could bring this down, say to here, is cut the legs. And I've done that before. Now, the downside to that is it limits your access to getting to your propane tank. So it's better in some ways to leave it so that you got room to get in here and play. Now, you're not going to be able to have your hard tank cover on these. So what I do is I use a soft cover. I order just a soft cover. And then I take my hard cover usually and use it on top to cover the generator. But I'm going to build a box for my generator this time. You can buy actually a generator box that will fit. It should fit nicely for my Harbor Freight. I bought a 2500. I used to use a Honda 2200, but I've upgraded now. So, but anyway, more to come. Okay, now here's where I'm at. Now I am missing a little bit of hardware, and it's an oddity too, because these, what I call security bolts, I got an excessive number of them. And these larger nuts, but I have found no way in which I need to use them at this point. These, which are used a lot, I was missing some of the nuts, so I ended up supplying a little bit of hardware. And you might say, well, I did something wrong, but I've gone back over. These are pretty much self-threaded, so you're limited on what you're going to use. And these security ones won't fit through there, so it has to be there. I noticed when I look carefully at the diagram too, they show a model where there is some bolts going this direction, and in a later picture it's this direction, so not a big deal really. Now in tightening, be sure you get back here and tighten this up first. I mean, this bracket that comes up with a T handle to support the upper, because it's going to be behind your jack, and you want to get down to that lowest one there and get it kind of positioned. Then I will start my tighten sequence, and I'm going to make sure that it's the same. I'm coming flush all the way to the front of this bracket. And I'll do the same over here. And like I said, when I'm done, I might cut a little bit of this bolt off if I need to, so I can get my spare tire back up in there. And it's just a matter now of tightening it down good and lodging these security bolts in tight. It should stabilize and be pretty solid. So I'll get that done and I'll give you a final video. All right, let's get ready to wrap this video up. Now, I have tightened everything. These, what I call the security bolts, are the critical. You tighten them very tight because that's what keeps this steady. This is why in Stromberg, Carlson, they drill through and put another in there. And that's an option you can do. Now I've tightened these real tight on these particularly. And the tray is solid. And you can see I've secured the top, I've secured the bottom, tightened them down to the frame. So let me walk you through so you get a good close look, since mine did not come with directions. It says it does, but just to be sure and show you, here's the box and the paper wrapping, and there were no directions anywhere in that box. So I don't know if it'd been opened before or what. Here's the excess hardware. These here, I think, were meant to be used. I could still insert them and may very well do that, because you can take 4 across here. The diagram doesn't show that, but you can insert 4, and I probably will, to use the hardware. But notice how these are turned, and these are self-threaded, so I know I've got the right bolt. It's not the longest bolt, it's the next size. You secure it, I'm on the right side here. Drop this in. There's a security bolt. Up top, I secured the tray to this plate, and it uses a different bolt. Then I decided where I wanted this tray, how far back you want yours or how far forward. That's your decision. They have a lot of places you can adjust it. I had to supply a little bit of hardware here because I did run out. And back over here on the left side there, you can see same pattern. Now to make sure it's aligned, I stayed flush with the front, bolted in. Now you see the bolts are sticking out, so I can cut these off, particularly the bottom one, so my spare tire will still come up and sit in there. And I've secured this side. So it's a repeat of what you saw. Now, then you can take your generator, and what I did before is, you see these openings, there are all kinds of places open. You can remove your feet off your generator and buy the hardware and secure your generator on top of this, and you don't have to worry about somebody running off with it. Then all you need is a cover. And I run a pigtail from here to my trailer so I can easily have power and power my travel trailer. So, and I've got other videos of this when I did this process on a different trailer, my Casita, if you want to go look that video up. I appreciate you coming to the channel, watching the videos. Leave any comments if you like, subscribe if you like. You guys, we'll see you in the next video. I thought I'd add this on. I did take my grinder with a metal blade and get down there and cut those bottoms off so that my tire would sit back in there. So now the tire, or the spare tire, is back in that spot. So, all right guys, we'll see you in the next video. Now I thought I'd add this as an addendum too. I did find a place where I could use some of those nuts and washers. It's there at the A-frame where I put that front secure bracket. Went ahead and put a washer or a nut on this and secured it too, so that it's secured on both sides. Okay, on to the next video.